Y'all remember Bam Bam, right? Y'all remember the homie Bam Bam, right? Yeah, I know this video is about Techumseh, or how my brother Hakan say, Techumseh. Hey, to the Hakan, man. Yeah, man, I just figured, you know what I mean, you might want to dig on a little bit of how to put this hut together, you know what I mean? Just fall back, I got you, man. We about to get linky. Love to Jackie Anthony, we about to get some great links. Love to the Hakan we about to get some great drop. And let go. It's always fun to see Bam Bam build some stuff, man. Nah, man, shout out to Primitive Technology. Been doing it for a long time. And he does this stuff, you know, on his own, man. I mean, he's letting you know the power and the knowledge. They got to reteach us sometimes. You know, we teach them this stuff, and then we got to learn it back. Because we done forgot all our own shit. And we digging on Techumseh. And while we dig on it, man, I mean, let's just have a little conversation, man, a little diatribe. So what y'all think happened in this 1800s, man? And why do you think they're flooding YouTube right now with all this mud flood, Tartaria situation? I mean, we've been talking about this for years. Why do you think they flooding us with it? Is it just part of the awakening? I don't know, man. But it seems like something happened that reset everything, and it happened within the last 200 or 300 years, man. I mean, the Hakan been saying it for a minute, man. He said the 1800s are the 1200s, man. The 1800s are the 1200s, man. He had to drop the whole time. Because it really appears that everything we're digging on in the 1200s is happening simultaneously in the 1800s. How far have they pushed back our history? And is it all more recent than we think? Yeah, man, it's pretty dope, man. It's pretty dope, man. All right.
One thing's for sure.
Hey, man, stop trying to hijack me, man. Stop trying to hijack me, man. We're just talking about Techumseh or Techumseh. Yeah, man, remember this drop, man? The history of ancient America. Anterior. It's the original history of ancient America. The anterior to the time of Columbus, proving the identity of Aboriginal. You know, it's a long title. You know, with Tyranians and Israelites, but Ty Battle dropped this on us, man. Ty Battle dropped this on us, man. And it's always great to surf the wave, you know, in battle time. You know, we're going to dig on it, man. I mean, it's just a matter of the flow when it comes to this Techumseh character, man. I mean, we know that this is a chief. We know that this is a warrior chief, right? We know that that's the vibration that we're in. What does it play? How much should it play in the mind and in the consciousness, the awareness of the average, Negro, homie, brother, nigga on the corner and kicking it in every hood? How much should this be playing in their psyche? I mean, how much does this have to do with the average so-called black man? That's why we're digging on it, not because we just, love history or something like this. I used to hate history and, how they taught it. Man, I didn't appreciate reading, man, until I realized I am the book. And yeah, man, we got it on a shirt, man. Hit up our drop shop, man. We got that new slogan in, man. I never appreciated reading until I realized I am the book. Hashtag Drop Nation, man. Ahchwa to all the dragon sponsors on the wall, man. Keeping the water flowing and the fire burning, man. And we're just talking about Techumseh, man. So, man, I wanna get back in here, man. Yeah, man. I want to get back in here, man, because I want to get in the classroom, man. I want to get in the classroom of the higher mark.
Encroachment into their western lands.
Let's get it from right here.
Federation became
Yeah, man. Look, man. We're talking Dragon Canoe. We're talking Techumseh. Get part 1 and 2. We're going to dig on that great PDF by Ahchwa Battle. We're going to get back, talk about the Black Sun, talk about this atomic explosion in 1812, man. Love to all the Drop Nation dropping these amazing links on us, man. Matt Carameo keeps dropping links on us. Jackie Anthony dropping some great links on us. We're going to get into all this, man. But let's just flow with the higher mark, you know what I mean? We just kicking it, man. I mean, hey, this is part 2 of this Techumseh, you know what I'm saying, rendition right here. And there's no rush. There's no rush for any of this. There's no rush to get it all, in one take. And, it's going to be a series of conversations, a series of investigations. So there's no fear of being wrong when you're investigating, man. You're turning it over, Here a little, there a little, man. Because you know that every time you empty your cup, it's going to be nothing but your wow, man, nothing but that breath, man. So let's get it with the Ahchwa, man. We're talking Techumseh or Tecumseh, a Lego.
What is we talking about?
Let go.
What are we talking about?
Wow.
The United States versus the American Indian Confederacy led by the Shawnee leader Tecumseh in Indiana Territory. Although the war is often considered to have climaxed with William Harrison, right? Victory at the Battle of Tippecanoe in 1811. Tippecanoe, dragging canoe, Tippecanoe. In 1811, Tecumseh War essentially continued into 1812. The War of 1812, this is the 1800 wars, the wars of the 1800s, and is frequently considered a part of that larger struggle. The war lasted for more than 2 years, until the fall of 1813, when Tecumseh, as well as second in command, Roundhead, died fighting Harrison, Army of Northwest, at the Battle of Thames. In Upper Canada, near present-day Chatham. This is the struggle for control of the Great Lakes region of North America. All right, so y'all check it out. They're gonna hit you over the head with hijacks. But check this picture out. You see this copper color? You see this copper-colored warrior, dragon canoe, the Battle of Tippecanoe, Tecumseh. It's all going to break down. The prophet, Tenskawata. Now they put the hijack, man, listen. You see that's a painting, right? Tenswakata, also known as the Prophet. The Prophet, a member of the Shawnee Nation, was born 1775. Named Lala Wikathia, Lala Wethaka, the rattle. His mother abandoned him in 1779. He was abandoned by all accounts. Lala Wathika lacked the physical abilities that his other siblings, including his elder brother Techumseh, enjoyed. His older siblings refused to train him in hunting and fighting. He was so unskilled with the bow and arrow that he blinded himself in his right eye with the wayward arrow. As an adult, he became reliant of the kindness of his fellow tribesmen to feed himself and his family. He also turned to alcohol and forget his problems, quickly becoming dependent on liquor, not having physical abilities to become a warrior. Lala Wethika attempted to learn the ways of his village medicine man. When the man died in 1804, Lala Wethika quickly proved unable to meet his people's needs. They remembered the drunken Lala Wethika and did not respect his medicinal abilities. He quickly turned back to alcohol and proved themselves with souls. In 1805 of April, while lighting his pipe, Lala Wethika fell into a deep trance. Now check this out. He fell into a deep trance. His family believed that he had died and prepared his body for a funeral. Dodger hijacks. Lala Wethika regained consciousness and claimed that the master of life, a Shawnee deity, had visited him. According to Lala Wethika, the master of life told him that the Ohio's American Indians must give up all white customs and products. Do you hear me? According to Lala Wethika, the master of life told him that the Ohio American Indians must give up all white customs. All white customs. This was told to him in a dream while he was in a coma. That a Shawnee deity, master of life. Who is the master of life? Is he talking about Ahchwa? Ahchwa had visited him. According to the master of life told him that the Ohio American Indians must give up all white customs and products. All white customs and products. Don't that sound like Daniel? Daniel said, I don't want none of your delicacies. All white customs and products. The master of life reportedly viewed the American Indians' dependence on guns, iron cookware, glass beads, and alcohol as the worst possible sins. The master of life reportedly viewed the American Indians' dependence on guns. Because you want to blame a death on a gun when it's people that kill people. Guns don't kill people. So guns would be an excuse to kill someone. Right? Iron cookware, glass beads, and alcohol. What does Solomon say about wine? Alcohol as the worst possible sins. If they rejected these items and returned to traditional ways, the Master of Life would reward them by driving the white settlers from the American Indians' land. That sound familiar? The Master of Life, Ahchwa, will reward them by driving the white settlers from the American Indian lands. The American Indians must also stop fighting with each other over land and respect their tribal elders.
Bang.
Does that sound familiar? If they followed the Master of Life message, Ahchwa, the American Indians, the Ame'ricans, will return to a life filled with happiness. Okay? Lala Withika also changed his name to Tin Swa Wata. Watawa means open door in Shani. If the American Indian, now you see how they said he's changed his name? But before they said it was his big brother. So him becoming Tin Squaw Wata means open door in Shani. If the American Indians allowed the Master of Life message to deliver by Tin Squaw Wata, they would have an open door. Whites called Tin Squaw Wata the prophet. Wow. Many American Indians were at first skeptical of Tin Waskata. Most of the area eventually accepted his message. His following grew throughout 1805. He formed a village for his followers at Greenville in Ohio. In the Americans, he met with the various tribes living in the state of Ohio and Indiana Territory. Among these groups were the Seneca, the Wyandotte, and the Ottawa. His fame grew even more in 1806 when he predicted an eclipse of the sun. Okay, William Henry Harrison, the governor of Indiana Territory, feared the prophet's growing number of followers. He dared the prophet to prove his power by carrying out some miracle. The prophet had his chance with the eclipse. Many scholars believe that his brother Techumseh had learned of the eclipse from American scientists who had been coming to Ohio to view it. Techumseh urged his brother to predict the eclipse. Techumseh was trying to form a united front of American Indian nations west of the Appalachian Mountains. He believed that if the American Indians worked together, they would be able to stop white encroachment into their western lands. Techumseh's federation became linked with his brother's religion movement. As one position strengthened or weakened, so did the other. Alright, so y'all can check that out, man. Try to drop that link.
Man, I mean, Ahchwa is kicking that
some miracle.
speed.
The prophet had his chance with the eclipse. Many scholars believe that his brother Techumseh had learned of the eclipse from American scientists who had been coming to Ohio to view it. Techumseh urged his brother to predict the eclipse. Techumseh was trying to form a united front of American Indian nations west of the Appalachian Mountains. He believed that if the American Indians worked together, they would be able to stop white encroachment into their western lands.
Think about Game of Thrones. You know what I mean? How they're saying the whites, right? Remember the duel, the forked tongue, the English spell, the whites, W-I-G-H-T, are the demons. W-I-G-H-T, definition, whites. White encroachment, man. We're just talking the whites, right? The whites. Come on, man. Come on, man. Talking W-I-G-H-T, man. A witch. A white is a witch. Huh? White. Witch or sprite. Those are demons, man. Any living being, a creature. a creature. Let's get to the bottom. Here it says demon, demon, the Owl of Whites, the Owl of Demons. Ding, demon, 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 demon. I mean, can you feel me, man? Can you feel me, man? So when you talk about the Game of Thrones, when they're talking about white encroachment, here's part again.
The prophet had his chance with the eclipse. Many scholars believe that his brother Techumseh had learned of the eclipse from American scientists who had been coming to Ohio to view it. Techumseh urged his brother to predict the eclipse. Techumseh was trying to form a united front of American Indian nations west of the Appalachian Mountains. He believed that if the American Indians worked together, they would be able to stop white encroachment into their western lands.
White encroachment. White encroachment. The encroachment of demons. Just like the Game of Thrones, all these kingdoms are now, looking to see if they're going to ally against these whites. W-I-G-H-T. And, man, this is what set it off for me, man. I was reading a Game of Thrones joint, you know what I mean? In captivity, you read a lot. And, yeah, man, I said whites. W-I-G-H-T. My goodness, right? So much is in these particular, fantasy joints. And yeah, man, you're going to have to dig through fantasy to find reality. So don't knock us for digging on fantasy because they've made you fantastical. You're fantastical. You're mythology. You're a story, man. You're Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, man. You're the Smurfs, man. You're the Thundercats, right? Man, you're mythological. Prester John, dragons, what? Avatar. Come on, man. We're talking the whites, man. So, man, one, love to hire Mark, man. He is slaying the hijack. He's a true hijack slayer, true guardian on the wall, man. Guardian on the wall. This is the guardian, the Khan, high priest. You understand what I'm saying? And yeah, man, we should all be outraged, man, at how this whole Google situation, does us, man. Does, real, focused warriors in the awareness movement, the movement to make us aware, past consciousness aware, man. Those in this aware community, man, they completely, hijack his entire channel, like literally erase his channel. So he's rebuilding his channel. You got the link below this video. So make sure you subscribe to Hiremark. If you're watching this video right now, subscribe, build this brother's channel up today. Let's go. We got to quickly build our brothers and sisters back up around here. This is brick by brick. We rebuild our house. And subscribe to Hiremark right now. Click the link below. Click all the links below. All right? Because you got all the featured links, man. We're about to get linky with Jackie Anthony. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, this is all relative. This is all relative right here, man.
Techumseh Federation became linked with his brother's religion movement.
His brother's religious movement. So they're comparing this to religion. Why? Why? Is that a stretch to compare Techumseh with religion? Not if you're talking Hebrews. Code word Hebrews, but love to tie battle. We can talk Hebrews and Techumseh, man. We can talk that talk, man. Love again to Hiremark. Subscribe for the drop. Let's go, man. Let's go, man. Let's get in the drop library. Love again to Ahchwa. That is the record keeper. Get in the library, man. Password is 1234 to get through the door. Make sure you, join Drop Nation, subscribe and all that for free. I do that for free so that we have your email, so that we know You know what I mean? Every time we drop a new password, you know, we know you got it. You know what I mean? So let's fall back. Let's get fluty. This is our environment. This is our neighborhood. This is our secluded alcove. And go get all the drop, because, you know what I'm saying, everything we digging on, you see the drop don't stop. You know, we haven't even started yet. You know what I mean? We ain't even started yet. And you got folks that is against us. You got folks that's for us, man. I mean, I guess, hey, stand for something or fall for anything, right? Go get that drop, man. Show us some love. Drop us that A-hop or just like that, man. Download the app. We're still working on a new app for Apple. You know what I mean? They just took our app out the Apple App Store. You know what I mean? So this is what they're doing to us. Taking down our channels, taking our apps, websites, whatever the case is. You know what I mean? So we keep building back up. And every time they do it, make sure you build your brother and sister back up in a hurry. So, but right now you can still download the app for Android. Make sure you're surfing the wave with Vanessa's Van Fun. Make sure you're surfing the wave, man. The drop shop, you already know. Like I told y'all, man, we got that drop right there. All the way at the bottom, man. I am the book. I never appreciated reading till I realized I am the book. All that, man. For 25 in the drop shop. Go get the wave, man. Go get the wave. Rock the drop. Let's go. Wow, wow. And also make sure you subscribe to Kara Mayo. You know what I mean? Who's dropping so much of this drop as well. Make sure you get that love, man. Get that love to Ahchwa Stew. Keep the family straight. You know what I mean? Support our tribe, you dig? Support our emergency funds. Let's go. You know what I mean? We're just getting the drop. This is Drop Nation, so, you know, when you come over here, you become a Dragon sponsor. Sponsor our radio 24/7 live stream where we're just dropping the drop, falling back, getting fluty, listening to great music in 432, just dropping the drop, reading books, man, at all times. You dig? So become a Dragon sponsor like that. Let's go. Now that we're fluty, let's get back into this history of ancient America, anterior to the time of Columbus. All right, let's go. We got a piece of this last time. Now I want to flow through it, and then we're going to get some links by the wonderful Ahchwa, Jackie Anthony. We'll tie some more things together with this Comet of 1811, man, 12. You know what I mean? Hopefully get to this Black Sun. We might get that in part 3. You know what I mean? So we can know what they were referring to and what's going on with that. And yeah, I mean, hey, you know, we're just falling back, surfing the wave. You know, no big deal. It's all good. Hope you're having a great day, great morning, great afternoon, great night. Taking flight. Feeling all right. It's a vibration thing, man. At the end of the day, don't be too mind heavy, man. When you're trying to figure out who's hijacking who's who, just go off the vibration. Go off the vibration. And it's all good to get the babies out the bathwater. Let go. All right, original history of ancient America. We're talking about the life of Techumseh. I'm gonna start calling him Tecumseh, man, because I love the sound of that. So let's go. Let's talk Tecumseh. In the prefatory remarks to the forthcoming work upon the chieftain Techumseh, let's go. The following language is used, and we avail ourselves of the privilege of extracting from our own storehouse materials for the commencement of this new historical campaign. The courteous reader is tracing the fate of Techumseh, as depicted in the pages of his life, will not fail to observe the strong analogy between the religious settlements of the chief of the forest and those of the ancient Hebrews. So when we digging on this higher mark, and this document's talking about this religious movement. If the American Indians were together, they would be able to stop the white, right, the demon encroachment on to their western lands. Techumseh Confederacy became linked with his brother's religious movement. So why is it a religious movement, man? Just because his name means an open door, a doorway, a portal, a spiral? Well, more clearly, it's a religious movement. Because we're talking about the ancient Hebrews. The ancient Hebrews, the language as uttered by Techumseh, is not written by the pen of fiction, merely to uphold a theory of the brain, but gathered from the archives of a people's history to support a theory of apparent truth. The present writer will not yield to any man in the firm belief that the Aborigines of North America, but North America only, yeah, whatever, man, you just open up the whole can. Oh man, you just open up all of America. You open up Central America, you open up South America. Don't try to cut it off, because you don't know shit. You don't know nothing. The present writer will not yield to any man in the firm belief that the Aborigines, the copper color races found here by the European, right? You remember this, right? Okay, let's go. I mean, you know how it is. We just talking dragon. And if we talk dragon, you just gotta talk American, man. Yeah, I mean, because you know when they talk Aboriginal, they talking American. We're talking Native American, we're just saying that it's applied to the Aboriginal or the copper-colored Negro found here, not brought here, found here by the European. It says it all right there in front of you. Do you have eyes to see? But now applied to the descendant of Europeans born in America. So now they can take your birthright, your land, your kingdom, your dukedom, your principalities, your movable, immovable goods, Papal, Diversas, 1452, because you were just found here, and you are the copper-colored, aren't you, Naga? All right. The present writer will not yield to any man in the firm belief that the Aboriginal Naga copper-colored race found here of North America and the ancient Israelites are identical. Aboriginals of North America, copper-colored races that were just found here, not brought here on a boat. We're talking about the religious movement. We're talking about Techumseh. Techumseh and the prophet moved their respective followers to Prophetstown near the Tippecanoe River in Indiana Territory, 1808. The two men continued to espouse their message, and their followers continued to grow in number by 1811. This is the Comet, right? 1811. Leading up into this war, this Tecumseh War. Let's go. Such a large number of American Indians lived at Prophetstown that white settlers in Ohio and the Indiana Territory demanded that the government do something to protect them. So they started up, you know what I'm saying, they basically started up a rally point, and so many Nagas came to that area that all the whites had an issue with it and asked their government, do something about it, please. Protect us, please. That's like us being in Utah, and so much of us, so many Nagas moved to Utah. They're like, oh my gosh, this is, please protect us, man. They just too real. The tribe is real. The vibe is real, man. We're just talking about Judah, baby. In 1811, such a large number of American Indians lived at Prophetstown that white settlers in Ohio and the Indiana Territory demanded that the government do something to protect them. William Henry Harrison led an army against Prophetstown in the fall of 1811. He stopped his force a short distance from the village. Techumseh was away, recruiting other American Indians to join the Confederation. The prophet, lacking the military skill of his brother, decided to attack the Anglo settlers. He claimed that the Master of Light had come to him and told him that the American Indians would succeed in defeating the Americans. He also stated that the whites' bullets would not harm the American Indian forces. The American Indians attacked Harrison's men before the daybreak on the morning of November 7, 1811. We're going to get into the death of Techumseh. And you're going to really realize that this was like, if not the last stand, one of the very last stands. One of the very last stands, man. Love again to Higher Mark. Subscribe immediately to Higher Mark, because the drop don't stop. You know, if not the last stand, one of the last stands, man, of the copper-colored Naga, man, of the actual Khan, the Ame'rican, the priesthood. The who? The priesthood. The who? The Aborigines and the ancient Israelites are identical, unless controverted by the stern authority of superior historical deductions. Oh, the authority might controvert this idea, but you know the ancient Israelites are the Ame'rican, are the copper-colored race found here by the European. Are the who? Hebrews, the Israelites. Let's go. We therefore have formed an original theory in reference to the natives of the North and those of South and Central America, together with the newly discovered ruined cities in and around Guatemala. So they're just discovering stuff. They can't make a conclusion quite yet. They're being a little hasty for just now getting here, to think they know everything. And by that theory, have separated into two distinct races or people, the Aborigines of the Western Hemisphere. The lately recovered ruined cities and temples in Central America, and of which no ancient record is to be found, have shattered the chain of acknowledged history to atoms. And until that chain is again united by a firmly established theory. So they're saying that what we just found in Americas, man, in Central America, with no ancient record to be found, has already shattered the acknowledged history to atoms. So when you're talking to someone kicking some out of Africa theory or some acknowledged history, anything that sounds like acknowledged history, sounds like rhetoric that we learned in public school, automatically, man, I just shatter it to atoms, man. Because it is shattered to atoms, man, based on the reality when you start to dig on the ruins, on the cities, on the temples, on the energy, on the frequency of the vibration. And they said until that chain is again united by a firmly established theory, education herself must pause, stop teaching, stop teaching, stop teaching until You are firmly established. Saying all these educational systems must pause, man. You can't just stop it, man. He just says, quit, man. Quit it, man. Stop being silly, man. We're spinning on a ball. We all come from Africa. What? The map looks like this, that. Huh? Education herself must pause, ere she can, with the wand of truth, point to her rising children the history of the world or its inhabitants. So unless you got a magic wand that can point to her rising children and the history of the world or its inhabitants, so unless you could really, talk about what's really going on, the real history, unless you really got a grasp on the actual chain of events, hey man, we've already shattered the chain of acknowledged history to atoms. Suspicion has asserted that all the natives of the continent of Columbus might probably have been originally of Hebrew extraction. One more time, why did Columbus bring a Hebrew interpreter to speak to you, Naga? Suspicion has asserted, I'm a little suspicious, man. And suspicion has asserted that all the natives now, there were so many Negro, so-called black people here in America. Already you got Benjamin Franklin saying all of America's swarthy, right? Let's just put this together. Let's put it all together. Because we're using separate substantiating resources and documents to put a theory together, right? Because we need to be established. We need to be firmly established to have a firmly established theory, or else all education must pause. So as we get firmly established, knowing that we're firm, fixed, and immovable, let go. Let's theorize. Let's investigate. Why not? Why not, man? What you afraid of? Why increase the sons of Africa? This is Benjamin Franklin in 1751. 1751. So we're putting it the same area and time, right? So we got this whole Techumseh, Tecumseh, you know what I'm saying, popping off in the 1700s, and this Comet in the 1811, and this seems to go right in between, the target area, you know what I mean? And here we are. We're still here in the 18th century, right? And he's writing, saying all this stuff. I advise you read the whole thing, man. And one day, we're going to just sit down and just read the whole damn thing. Now, we're talking about increasing the so-called black people, right? He said, oh, man, don't send no more over to America, man. Now, we got this before, but remember what it all looked like. Why increase the sons of Africa by planting them in America, where we have so fair an opportunity? He's talking about the whites, by excluding all blacks and tawnies of increasing the lovely white and red. But perhaps I am partial to the complexion of my country. What did he say? All Africa. Now, we're about to, get back in this, Tecumseh, book over here. And they're going to say all these Americans, man, all these Aboriginals, we are having a suspicion. We're suspicious, right? What does it say? Come on. Suspicion has asserted that all, see how they put that in italics, right? So they mean all. Suspicion has asserted that all the natives of the continent of Columbus might probably have been originally of Hebrew extraction. all the Ame'ricans, all the copper color races found here by the European. All, right? Because we are saying all. Benjamin Franklin says all Africa is black or tawny. Asia chiefly tawny. We looked up tawny, and tawny is synonymous with swarthy, which is just dark complexion. So don't think that it's some light skin situation. Tawny is also a deep, rich, ruddy, copper color. You know what I'm saying? Ruddy, Indian red, brown, whatever you want to call it. So this is the Naga. Tawny is the Naga. Swarthy would be the Naga. All right. America, exclusive to the newcomers or the whites, is wholly so. Wholly swarthy. Wholly so. All Africa, Asia, America are swarthy, tawny, copper colored Nagas. So we know we're not tripping, man. So much so that that's the definition of an American when? In 1828. So we're still right here in the same time period, 18th century, early 19th century, man. So all this is happening around the same time. This 1828 Webster Dictionary has been written, their first major, dictionary publication. And you got Benjamin Franklin talking his talk, telling you that all of Africa, Asia, America are all dark-skinned people. Europe, Spaniards, Italians, French, Russians, Swedes are generally what they call swarthy, which is dark complexion, as are the Germans. They're dark-skinned. The Saxons only accepted what the English make up the principal body of the whites, man. So the only thing they can claim, they're saying, is the England, which you can't even give them that, and the Saxon situation, which you probably can't even give them that. So they say they make up the principal body of these whites on the face of the earth, man. So the only whites are coming out of this little group right here of Saxons and English. This all plays, if you want to put together the mystery, the puzzle that just happened, especially around this comet in 1811, 1812. If you know that all of Europe is dark-skinned except for England and the Saxons, then that's only a tiny bit, which is why he's tripping. Like, don't increase the sons of Africa. We don't really have an opportunity as it is. They call you son. He's saying sons of Africa to clarify exactly who we're talking about. He's going with the rhetoric to clarify that he's just talking about the so-called African American. Don't send us no more of these so-called black people. There's so many over here already. What does he say? Oh man, he said, and while we are, as I may call it, scourging our planet, what's the whites doing? They're scourging the planet by clearing America of woods. Come on, man. They're cutting down trees. They're cutting you down. And so making this side of our globe reflect a brighter light to the eyes of inhabitants in Mars or Venus? What is he talking about, man? What's Benjamin Franklin talking about, man? In 1751, observations concerning the increase of mankind. What's he talking about, man? What you talking about, man? What you talking about, homie? What you mean Mars and Venus, man? You're saying that you're scourging the earth? Because, man, you don't think this got something to do with the comet? We keep talking planets. Let's go. Pay attention, man. Put this together, man. We're doing this together, man. What is this all about? We are investigating. Let's go. Drop detectives. Let's go. Now look, man. He just said that this virus, these whites, are scourging the planet by clearing America of woods and so making this side of our globe reflect a brighter light. to the eyes of inhabitants in Mars or Venus? Moors on Mars? Why should we, in the sight of superior beings, darken its people? Why increase, again, the sons of Africa by planting them in America, where we have so fair an opportunity by excluding all the blacks and tawnies of increasing the lovely white and red? Aye. But perhaps I am partial to the complexion of my country, the whites, right? For such kind of partiality is natural to mankind. That's a very important word. Not just man, but mankind, man. Kind of man. Kind of man. We're just talking the whites. We're just talking the demon. We're just talking Techumseh. Suspicion has asserted that all the natives of the continent of Columbus might probably have been originally of the Hebrew extraction. Why did Columbus bring a Hebrew interpreter named Lord Torres to speak to you, Naga? And who is Prester John? Who is Techumseh? The assertion has been made in doubt and trembling, for writers have been confounded by essential contrast in the religious customs of North and South America. There were no analogies between them, which circumstance should have compelled historians to pursue another path of inquiry and so attain a conclusive truth. But they found a Gordian knot which they could not unravel, and assuming the impatient weapon of Alexander, they destroyed it. The architecture, however, of the ruins of Copan, Palenque, Uxmal, something like that, and their time-honored associates has furnished a Rosetta Stone to aid the new translation of the hieroglyphical history of now ancient America. And if our theory is true, not only have the Israelites walked the land where the sun bestows his last smile, but another nation in which was retained the primitive language of the diluvian world. We're going to get into this antediluvian world coming up almost next, man. We might do an Angels and Dragons part 3, you know what I mean? Then hit up this antediluvian world and then get back to Prester John. Man, part 40. Can you believe it? Let's go. I told y'all we'll get to 50, and we're going to get to 50, you know what I mean? And then we'll see how we feeling. We'll see how we feeling about this investigation. Let's go. This has been a road, least traveled, man, to put this drop together in the time period that we've done. We appreciate all those that have inspired this investigation, including our enemies, because you need the static. Shout out to Static in the Attic, man. Breaking down some, we're going to have to get some of that too, man. It's all good. Let's go. So the Israelites walked the land where the sun bestows his last smile. We just got in the medieval history of the Israelites. Love to carry Mayo for that great drop. Man, feels good to have that drop, man. Feels good to have that drop back. And we just got out of that. Man, when it comes to this paradise that it said, it had a reference to the being from where the sun rises, how King David, Prester John, had ruled from where the sun rises all the way to paradise in the west. So we're talking about, more. I mean, that book right there costs $1,000 to tell you that paradise is in the west. So where's Eden? Where are the Israelites? We're talking about the Aborigines of America. The Israelites walked the land where the sun bestows his last smile. all right, where the sun sets, right, or the west, or paradise, Kalemus, let's go. But another nation in which was retained the primitive language of the Diluvian world previously trod the soil as Aborigines. And beyond all this, remember this is the old world, the far thread of Ariadne, all right. Let us faithfully, if not, the Almighty Father who gave the thought will pardon its application, yes, beyond all the bounding feelings, leaping at events at once classic and venerated, do we contemplate another branch of our theory. For if we do not right in error, and our perfect faith assures us that we do not, he just set it up. And our perfect faith assures us that we do not right in error, then the trembling hand which sought in doubt the Savior's wounds has been outstretched in sacred oratory, even in those southern wilds, the bold yet conquered voice which uttered in hallowed and confirmed faith, my Lord and my God, has given forth its mission eloquence, even in the Western Hemisphere, and there the sainted ashes of that apostle may yet repose. All right, saying basically that whether you're talking about the events that you think are happening in the New Test, or that it's threading the needle through what we're calling a New Testament, or whether we're talking about the Tanakh and the old school, Diluvian, antediluvian situation, America, this Western Hemisphere, is the old world, man. In so many words, he's telling you that this is where it's all going down. Why did the Mormons, why do they call Quetzalcoatl Jesus Christ? And why is Jesus Christ just Joshua, the Messiah, the messenger, the Mashiach, who is the priest king, who is a Prester John? Let's go. Who is Comet? Who is his brother, the prophet? This was your last stand. Let's go. The preceding extract may be viewed as the exordium of the original history to follow, wherein, if we fail, it will be the boldness of the attempt and not the deed confounds us. Taking as a basis for our illustration the rules of the argument, we will first identify one race, and then prove that the existence of another is not only apparent but absolute. For the convenience of the general reader, the word Mexican, all right, listen up, the word Mexican, until the true name is established, will be applied throughout the following pages to all Central and South America. All right, so the word Mexican, just for this particular example, will be applied throughout the following pages to all of Central and South America. For the word South may be confounded with the portion of the Republic of North America so denominated, and especially with the American reader. The fundamental error with all writers upon the Aboriginals of America is that they have viewed them as one people. Authors have, therefore, been confounded by the different customs and ceremonies of religion as practiced in the two great divisions of the continent. They have seen that the natives were, to a certain extent, in one part of the vast domain, idolaters. All right, Jack, but this is the old world. This is the old world, and this is Atlantis. So you had all the hijacks here. Egypt is here. So all that is going to be here. Let's go. Idolaters. And remember, man, breaking rule number 1 is the reason for the fall. Putting a power before a power. You feel me? So you're going to have that here. And not in the other. And the North was essentially Republican in every aspect of its political existence, while that of Mexican America, or everything South, was as essentially composed of kingdoms and empires and governed by despotic monarchs, and that republics were interwoven with them that each man in the north was a warrior and an equal, acknowledging no superior but their leader in the time of battle, and should he fall in action, there was not a member. Man, I mean, so you got these, warriors here. All right, you got these kingdoms here. You got these monarchs here. There was not a member of the tribe in which they politically lived, but could have taken his place and filled it with the similar courage and ability. So they worked together, they rocked together. In Mexican America, they were not equal, but the emperor they descended by degrees to the serf and slave. In that country, stone and stucco temples and palaces were and still continue to be found, erected with costly magnificence, and in which were jeweled idols to which they bent the knee. Their rich dwellings were splendid mansions adorned with sculpted and beaten gold and graced with the works of art, and as a people enjoying all the refined elegancies of life. But in the north, their temple was the azure canopy of Jehovah, or Ahchwa, adorned with its myriads of golden stars, and when beneath the sublime dome they bent the knee, it was to the Almighty God alone. So it says in the north, they got this tent, dedicated to Ahchwa, and then it says they bent the knee, it was to the Almighty God alone. So what it appears they're trying to say is you had more idolatry popping off, throughout Central and South America per se. You know what I mean? And maybe that's, more connected with an Egypt situation or a Babylon situation, or, all this stuff is already here. Their palaces were the gigantic trees. What? Hold up, man. Oh, there we go. Their palaces were the gorgeous vistas of the forest. We're still talking about these people in North America. They're making that distinction. All right. The surfed away, man. The columns were the gigantic trees, each year increasing in their stateliness. Their shadowy and painted roofs were the far-spreading branches. And the neck, man, you see how close you were with the trees, man? You lived in a tree, man. Your palace was the forest. Your palaces are the trees, man. Now, how close is this to Avatar? We keep bringing that up. Their shadowy and painted roofs were the forest-spreading branches, and nature's tinted foliage. Their mansions were those of independent wanderers, even the simple tents of Israel. Their mansions were those of independent wanderers, even the simple tents of Israel, or the Rechabites, right? The Kenites. The tribes of Prester John that's living in tents. The tribes of Moshe, let's go. And as for jeweled idols and figures of beaten gold, they presented the diamonds of the human eye, radiant with intellectual beams and glancing from the living emblem of the first and priceless image placed in Eden's garden by the architect of the universe. So if you want to talk jewelry, man, they got jewels connected to Eden, the Garden of Eden. Notwithstanding these essential opposites in character and policy, to which may be added that of physiognomy, writers have glanced at them as one race, sprung from the same branch of the human family, without defining which, and when they could not reconcile such apparently uncountable distinctions and diversities, they have thrown upon the shoulders of the Mexican Moshe, who is Techumseh, Techumseh, love to the Haka. The mantle of many virtue belonging to the north, and upon this race they have thrust the idolatrous vices and the festering robes of luxury justly claimed by the former people, and by this easy manner of disposing of a question have seemingly satisfied themselves that by blending the crimes of both to the exclusion of the virtues of either, that they were all savages, and no matter from whence they came. Thus have they formed their conclusions concerning 50 millions of the human beings. Nah, man. You're just talking about the copper color races found here by the European. We're talking about the Hebrew Israelites in America waking up now, realizing that it's been a fight against whites, against demons, things, witches, creatures. Whites. Let's get a little bit more of this. We're just going to relax, man. We got some great drop to make a dismount out of, man. So let's get a little more, man. Ain't no rush, man. A little here, a little there, look. So, conclusions concerning 50 million of human beings, although directly in opposition to evidence of fact, to deductions by relative reasoning, and to all Christian feeling, which alone should have rejected so cruel a decision. But nah, that Christian feeling should have rejected the cruelty, but it actually fueled it. You're talking about Jesus again, right? Founded as it is, not only on slight, but careless investigation, a sufficient identity of the northern native is now required. A sufficient identity of this Naga, this copper-colored Naga just found here, is required, ain't it? Ain't it required, my Naga, for them to fall back and recognize you? Ain't it a requirement to be recognized as the seed of Hawaii? Where are your things, man? Where's your stuff? Where's your land? Where's your gold? Where's your scepter? A sufficient identity of the northern native, North America, is now required, my Naga, in the hoods of North America, the Aboriginal, the copper-colored race found here, in order to establish the natural distinction between the Aborigines of the two Americas. In all civilized countries where the lex scripta fails to develop or protect the historical events and rights of the nation or of an individual, then the lex non scripta is not only not rejected, but it is actually brought forward to establish and support the customs and privileges of bygone day. This traditionary evidence handed down from sire to son is received in proof of a foregone conclusion. It gives an insight into the times of which no written record is left for the investigation of Argus-eyed posterity. It carries us back to customs, civil, military, and religious that otherwise might be lost to the archives of history. Admitting, therefore, this train of reasoning, we bring it to bear upon the present important subject, important in the highest degree, for the time is now past when the Western Hemisphere is to be dated from the rediscovery by Columbus. The time is now past when everything going on in America is to be dated from the rediscovery. Because he didn't discover nothing. His giant but over-applauded name, like the ruins in Palenque, is but the lettering of a volume to indicate in the library of the universe that such a work is written. The work itself, the great continent, has yet to be read, and the historical authors identified, nor will the ground well-grounded suspicion that the Welsh prince Madoc, who we're reading about in Cyclone Covey's book called Kalalus, a Roman Jewish colony in America, which we know we're just talking about, the Rimon, the R-I-M-O-N, the Rimon in Hebrew means pomegranate, the promised land where Joshua and Caleb got the pomegranates to prove to Moshe that they were in the promised land. The pomegranate is the Rimon. The Rimon is the Roman or the Romani tribes, indigenous Romani tribes. So they stole the title Romani or Rimon, which refers to the promised land, and the pomegranate and the pomegranata, and these lands like Granada that's popping up on maps in North America, literally over where the Four Corners is. It says Granada or Kalalus, which means promised land. And we connected this Welsh to the Hebrew people because we're just talking Europe, right? So don't think we're talking Welsh as in white. When Benjamin Franklin is talking about the whites, and he's saying these whites, man, these demons, man, these whites, man, the only principal body of whites are the Saxons, and the English are the only principal body of white people on the face of the earth. And all of Africa, Asia, America are what? Swarthy complexion, dark skin, or copper colored Nagas, the color of grandma's penny. You got George Catlin telling you that these people here got curls to the extreme. Hair of all flows, all waves of all kinds, dreadlocks, slabs that are separated 2 inches thick, going down to the flow. So you got dreadlocks, you got the copper color races. You know you're talking about the Negroes in America that everybody's watching. Why are they all watching you? Seeing when you wake up. We're just talking about the Welsh, right? So the Welsh are not the English or the Saxons, so they're also swarthy. And Madoc is also swarthy. Colonizing America 2 centuries before the Genios, or that the Norwegian land 3 centuries anterior to the Welsh, enabled us even to unclasp the volume to accomplish this, and its translation and historic, wherever that says Iliad, must be cast over a period of more than 2,000 annual changes of nature's revolving but faithful time glass, granting then that when the lex scripta would not cover a subject, the lex non-scripta must be investigated to establish a position. The first then will not apply to the aboriginals of the North, for it does not exist. The latter only, or the unwritten history of their race, must be had recourse to prove their originality and identity, my naga. Traceable back to time immemorial, my naga, from their present customs and traditions, my naga. You are the original, the originators. The aboriginal is the what? The original. Let's put it in. What does it say? Wow. We're talking the originator. Yeah, man, aboriginal, man. What does it say? First, original. Prime. So don't let them trick you with this this mixture, this ab. We're just talking about the original people. The first inhabitants of a country. The aboriginal, the very first, not the migrants. Oh, when did they migrate over? Stop saying we migrated when we're the first inhabitants. The copper color race is found here. are the Aboriginal, or the first, right? The first, right? I ain't making it up. I'm reading out the 1828 dictionary. The first inhabitants of a country. So no one can tell you where you come from, nigga, naga. No one can tell you when you're the first inhabitant of a country. They're doing the migrating, trying to tell you that you're doing migrating, trying to tell you where you come from. And we're going to get into these Celts because they keep tying them into the Indians, man. We're talking Europe, and remember, all of Europe is swarthy complexion, Benjamin Franklin is saying. So these Celts are also swarthy. And it says the first settlers in the country are called Aboriginal, as the Celts in Europe. So the Celts in Europe are the first Aboriginal indigenous people called the Celts. Right? You got the Boston Celtics. You know how they like to play with the Indians, Cleveland Browns, Cleveland Indians, Redskins, Celts, Celtics, and Indians in America. So there's a connection here, man. Can you dig it? Can you see it? Let's drop on a couple of these Jackie Anthony links, man. Love to Jackie Anthony, man. You got Techumseh, Shawnee leader throughout history. In many cultures, preserving the physical remains of great figures has been considered vital for religious, cultural, or political reasons. Get this drop. We're in archaeology.org. Love to Jackie Anthony. Many Native Americans don't share that outlook. The burial of Shawnee leader Techumseh is a case in point. Techumseh, whose name means shooting star. Right, so last time we dug on the star, the meteor, the dragon connection, right? The star, the meteor, the dragon connection, right? The meteor. Remember Meteor Man? Robert Townsend told y'all, man. He was a superhero called Meteor Man. Luminous body floating in the atmosphere. We're connecting it to the dragon drop. We're connecting it to the dragon drop because this, meteor is just a relatively new name or, program that we're thinking of a space rock. Wasn't used until 1958. Connect that to the Russian Dolls Dictionary, where it's just talking about stars with a tail that has a beard with tangled locks. You think, hey, look, man, look, man. Meteor Bleach Project. In the journal, the IMO, we're talking about the Russian Dolls Dictionary. Star with a tail. Shooting stars linked to the belief that a young girl could determine where her future husband lived by watching the direction taken by a star at Christmas. Yeah, man, they trying to get fortunes, man, but you're just talking meteors. And again, the definition of a comet in the Dolls Dictionary is a heavenly body, which in comparison to others is as of huge mass, though sparse, nebulous, transparent. Sometimes it may be seen to have a nucleus while the surrounding area forms something like a tail. Beard, B-E-A-R-D, beard, man. It has a tail and a beard or tangled locks. Dreadlocks, man. A star with a tail, bearded, with tangled locks, is a dragon, is a meteor. The term star with the tail also referred to under the entry star. So whether you're talking about a star, shooting star, or a star with a tail, bearded with tangled locks, you're just talking about a meteor. Yeah, a meteor. Yeah, man, I mean, you get it. Shooting star, Tecumseh, dragon canoe. a fiery shooting meteor, or a person, because this man or woman is a dragon. Tecumseh, Tecumseh, let's go, is a dragon, a meteor, star with a tail. Oh man, we read this whole document before. We're going to get it again. Tail, bearded, tangled locks. All right, let's go, Jackie Anthony. Allego. So you say Tecumseh, Oh, I got you. Let's go. Tecumseh, whose name means shooting star, right? Bearded, tangled locks, star with a tail, or panther in the sky, led the Shawnee and the Coalition and other native groups in resisting American settlements in Ohio, Indian territories in the early 19th century. He allied his forces with the English during the War of 1812. Remember, we talked about all the wars that were going down. Let's see if we got it here. See if we still got it up, man. Yeah, man. You got all these links. Click them, man. These are the featured links. It says featured links. Click them. Because they went to war against who? The Cherokee, man. Specifically, 93% of the time the hijack's been invading you, because the corporation has to keep invading you, because that's what they're doing. They're invading you. They can't stop invading you. A virus got to keep getting you sick, or else there's no more virus. There's no more whites. See? Because back then it was just the English and the Saxons made up the principal bodies of whites, is what Benjamin Franklin said. But now they got to keep invading. They got to keep growing the virus. I'm not just talking about any white people, you know what I mean? I'm just talking about a specific group of synthetics that have to do with these whites here. You dig, Let's go. Because some white people are, mutations of us, of copper-colored Nagas. You got different white, so-called whites. You know what I'm talking about. We're just using the English words. Different groups, you know what I mean? But the group that appears to be running or in the forefront of some of this stuff, man, this is what we're getting a handle on. Because we know at the end of the day, it's still a more and more war. What war? The war that popped off in 1776 when they got independence from black Europe, all of Africa, Asia, Europe. It's all swarthy. Europe, Spaniards, Italy, France, Russia, Sweden are all swarthy. It says, listed before also that the Scottish, the Irish, and all them are also swarthy, man. So let's go. Let's go, man. Panther in the sky. All this popping off at the same time to go to war against the Chickamauga. And this is, connected to the Shawnee, the Cherokee, the Chickamauga Cherokee that broke off from the other Cherokee. The Chickamauga Cherokee were a group that separated from the greater body of Cherokee tribes because the majority of the Cherokee people wished to make peace with the American rebels. They sought to make treaties. So this group, led by Dragon Canoe, which either is Tecumseh or came a generation right before him, basically reared him up, was one of his, direct forefathers. And then you got the War of 1812 listed on these wars all the way, this whole area right here, all the way to 1815, which picked it up with the Seminole, which were also a mixture of tribes of Hebrews. And these are all wars against the black Hebrews, man. The copper-colored Hebrews right here in America. And this is how it popped off before they went out and started saying war in the Middle East or this Russian corporation thing, Cold War stuff. Nah, man, it was all war against the Naga. Indian, 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 Indian. Do I need to keep going to talk about the war against the Naga, even in the Philippines and the Banana Wars and World War II, Korea War? When you get to the bottom of it, it's still all war against the same Naga, natural, indigenous, Ame'rican, the meteors, the dragons that they're calling violent. The Aboriginals, right? The first inhabitants. The Ame'rican copper color race is found here. So get this link, you know what I mean? It's going to give you some good backstory. No record exists of the exact location of Techumseh's grave. Let's talk about the grave, man. Because here, let's back it up. He allied his forces with the English during the War of 1812. Which ones? Because we know he didn't ally with the whites, but was abandoned by them in 1813. And at the Battle of Thames is now Ontario, refusing to retreat. Techumseh died, leading his outnumbered forces against American troops led by future President William Henry Harrison. According to eyewitnesses, Techumseh's slain body was taken up by his warriors, who buried him close to the battlefield. No record exists of the exact location of Techumseh's grave, but Ken Tankersley, a University of Cincinnati archaeologist, who is an enrolled member of the Pequot Shawnee, enrolled, all right. You already know you're going to have to deal with hijack when you start enrolling, and sits on the tribe's council of elders, says that isn't important. So he says, for indigenous people, and the Shawnee in particular, what's important is for the dead to make the journey, or allowing the body to decompose, creating nutrients in the soil, and thus allow the cycle of life to continue. Tankersley knows that Shawnee will occasionally visit the battlefield and leave a tobacco offering. We know where the battle was, and the whole battlefield is considered a sacred site, and that is close enough. He predicts that the protests would erupt if any archaeologists or anyone else ever tried to find Techumseh's remains, even using non-invasive remote sensing technology to locate the burial will be considered unacceptable, says Tankersley. No one should ever go looking for Techumseh. No one but you? I think Jackie Anthony's trying to tell us something, man. Another great link from GEHIO.blogspot.com. The death of Techumseh. On this day in history, October 5th, 1813, the 45-year-old Shawnee American Indian leader Techumseh, born near Xenia, Ohio in 1768, was killed at the battlefield of Thames in Canada during the War of 1812. He was fighting for his cause and his people alongside British soldiers against the Americans near present-day Chatham, Kent, Ontario. This event much ended the Pan-Indian Confederation. So killing him, man, really ended a lot of the you know what I'm saying, the allies, the Confederation that they had. It really broke down the whole entire flow. You know what I mean? This might have been the last stand of the copper color races found here, man. This might be the last stand, because this dictionary was 1828, man. We're talking about 1813, the fall of Tecumseh, man. Man, this might be the last stand, my naga. So it was, you know, about a couple hundred years ago, man. Only a couple hundred years ago you made your last stand, my naga. That's what we're getting at. I know this document also has some great job I've been to many of Tecumseh's related historical sites in Ohio, but I haven't been to the location of this battle yet. According to the maps, I can be there in 6 hours. All right, man, go, man, go. Do your thing. While no fully authenticated portrait of Techumseh exists, because they can't give you no portrait, right? That's going to blow the lid off. The famous color portrait of Techumseh seen at the beginning of this blog entry was created in the late 1800s, long after his death. It is based on a sketch from life by French trader Pierre Ledru, who also sketched his brother Tens Skowatawa, the prophet. So love to hire Mark, who got us in the Tecumsehs. You know what I mean? Broke down the whole, deal with this prophet, man, how he had this vision, and how the Most High said, man, get away from all them customs, get away from all the customs of the whites, of the demons, of the heathen. White is not a color, so when I say white, I'm not talking about just pale people, this and this. I'm talking about a frequency, man. This is a frequency war. If you're a demon, you're a white. Not a color. If you're a demon, you're a white. You dig? Love to Jackie Anthony, man. Let's get another one, man. So yeah, we're just talking. Let me make sure I got. Oh, let's get this one. I'm gonna get this one in a second. Let me get back. Here we go. Let's get this Smithsonian mag.com situation. It says the dying Tecumseh and the birth of a legend. Sculpture in the Smithsonian collection reveals much about how the Indians of the West were viewed in early ages of the United States. I love to the Ahchwa, man. He actually had this. And he pointed out this is supposed to be Tecumseh, man. So you see this copper tone, copper colored brothers. So this ain't no play. You see these copper tone, copper colored people. War of 1812. You see these copper Indians, man. You see these Nagas. You see these Ame'ricans. Do you see these Americans, man? We'll go further into the Battle of Tippecanoe as well. But this is what we're talking about. So don't play with us when we talk about the copper colored races found here, the so-called Negro. Let's go.